No funny intro or anything this week. We haven't done anything stupid. I feel burpy immediately.
It's going to be a good one.
No, I'm not going to do it because it'll be on camera. Burps aren't funny.
No, not as funny as farts,
yeah. I need to get this act done though before we start.
Come on.
It's sitting there, it won't come.
Come on. I've got to go home.
I know. That was pre-burp as well. That wasn't even the burp. That was all stuck. That was from there.
That was incredible. I've never heard it. It sounded a bit like Jurassic Park.
like a Velociraptor or a T-Rex. Yeah, nice.
If you could go out with one Villa player for New Year's Eve night, who would it be?
I don't know. Who'd you?
Alan Hutton.
Alan Hutton?
Yeah, I think he'd be lively.
I mean, most of our local rivals, when they get anything against us, they seem to celebrate it like a win, which is not how I like to operate. It's quite small time. But
sure, but
each to their own. Just a little prank there.
No.
Prank Sinatra.
Didn't see that.
No? Okay.
And somebody came up to Dan. I was like, I love what you do with the Villa View. It's so good. Love the podcast. Love the podcast. I mean, I am literally half of the podcast. And Dan's like, oh yeah, there's Tom as well. He's like, who?
Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with myself, Dan Bardell, and Tom Julian in his retro 97-98 AST computers, or if you're him, AST computers.
Yeah, I have to say thank you to Graham Owen, who gifted me this shirt.
Yeah, that's good days.
After I bought the 95-97 shirt in a kid's small, and it really was a kid's small.
You're not one of those erotic models that like get stuff bought for you in exchange for in exchange for things. You've just had a shirt bought for you for no reason, essentially. I've got an Amazon wish list, and if you do the right thing, then you've said his name in the podcast. In exchange, you get a free Villa shirt. If anyone wants,
I was going to say that.
If anyone wants their name said in the podcast and will send me a free Villa shirt, then I'm open to that. Open to offers.
Me too. I can be bought.
Yeah, I'm wearing a 2009-2010 white Acorns away shirt this evening. Underrated shirt, actually. I've forgotten how nice this shirt was.
I think all Acorn shirts will always be good quality shirts because it's the charity. You want to be involved with that. The actual shirt, though, is obviously a Nike shirt, and you don't go far wrong with Nike.
See, I think me and Rollo talked about this in one of the videos. I can't remember if it made the cut or not. The Nike home shirts, I thought they were a bit boring. Just standard. Right, not much effort had gone into them.
I mean,
the away shirts, lovely stuff.
Yeah, and you've got...
Yeah. Old Brighton on the back randomly because I had an extra large shirt that was way too big for me because when Villa got to the cup final I wanted a cup final shirt and I'd ran out of every size but extra large, so I had this baggy extra large top just sitting there doing nothing. So I've swapped with podcast listener David Alford, so he's now got the extra large Ashley Young cup final shirt, and I've got randomly Mark O'Brien, who didn't even really play that season, on the back of mine. But if you're listening to the podcast, it's pretty boring us talking about shirts that you can't see.
I wonder if eBay do any kind of metrics or whatever, and over the last couple of weeks they've just noticed a massive spike in Aston Villa shirts and various merchandising.
We deserve a cut for sure.
We surely do. And yes, apologies to anyone that has been trying to buy shirts for a while because the prices have definitely gone up.
But if you're selling them, we've done you a massive favour because suddenly now you're getting more bang for your buck. You'll be getting all kinds of money.
That's absolutely right. Before we get into the main thing, and there is a lot to talk about with Sheffield Wednesday, should say thank you very much. We found out just after we did last week's podcast that we are nominated for 3 football blogging awards this year, which is awesome. Last year we were nominated for 1.
You sound it's awesome, but I think about it. I think it was quite upsetting when we didn't win last year, even though we only had really a 1 in 10 chance. Now we've got 3 chances to not win, so we could have 3 categories and end up with nothing.
Well, if you look at the numbers, 144,000 nominations for 2,000
where do you pull them stats from?
Different blogs, vlogs, podcasts. It's on their website.
Okay, fair
so to be nominated in 3 different categories is absolutely awesome, so thank you very much for nominating us. The hard work doesn't stop there. Now you need to vote for us.
I mean, the hard work never starts for us, really.
No, it really doesn't. It never has, and that's why we won't win. But you can vote for us as best club content creator, best established content creator, obviously best podcast.
It's very kind. Established.
Yeah.
How have we snuck into there?
I don't know, but if you vote for us, we've got a chance. So you can vote on the website footballbloggingawards.co.uk, on Instagram and on Twitter, and all 3, ideally, if you would like to. If you like our content, we really, really appreciate it.
Did you say best podcast? Did you read that bit out then, or after I interrupted you?
Yeah, it was kind of as you were incoming, interrupting. That's why we won't win.
I'd say that's the one that we probably stand the most chance. Best podcast, although that's the one we didn't win last year.
Yeah.
Just because whenever anyone speaks to me, they always say I love the podcast. They never say I love anything else. They just love the podcast.
That's good. So if you do want to vote for us, those are the 3 ways. There's a video on the Villa View YouTube channel as well. So yeah, make sure you cast your vote. We really appreciate it. That'd be great.
Would mean a lot to win, because obviously I'm joking around, but we do put effort in.
Yeah.
It is an effort to do these videos sometimes. Not at the moment because we're winning.
Yeah.
But it has been hard work at times, being a Villa fan and trying to provide content and trying to keep it upbeat. And for me and you, two people that dream of working in this kind of industry, it'd be a big deal to win.
It would, absolutely. And the gutting thing, well, it's not the gutting thing because we might not win, but I can't go to the award ceremony this year. I'm away with work. But yeah, as Dan says, to win would be incredible. To be nominated, as I say, those numbers there tell a big story, but to take the big prize home, that would be amazing. So yeah, if you can spare those few minutes to just vote, that would be awesome.
I think it makes more sense that you and Rollo don't go and that me and Dolan go, because I think we're more showbiz.
Right.
Than you. You're not very showbiz, are you? In fact, you're a little bit embarrassing. Like your camera out every 5 minutes.
I was creating content for the podcast, and on the other, to put it on the other side, if you and Dolan go, you're the uncool one. How does that feel?
That's a big shout. I'm not sure about that.
It's definitely true.
Does Dolan pull off a football shirt like this?
I don't think Dolan does football shirts.
No, he doesn't. How do you know? I've never seen that guy wear a football shirt.
No, if it's not a black tee.
I might have seen him wear a 1982 one, possibly once underneath, like some kind of Paul Smith jacket.
I was going to say, did Paul Smith do a collaboration with Villa?
He doesn't wear football shirts. He doesn't really buy football shirts.
No.
Unless James Chester's given him signed ones, he doesn't really do football shirts. I actually spoke to him much this week. I've not seen him for a while.
Yeah.
No, because you've been quite consistent with turning up.
Thanks very much.
No worries.
No, I'm trying to get out of one, but I can't do it.
Okay.
You know. We should also say a happy 50th birthday to Doug Schreider.
Yeah, and we've just got to work out which shirt he's going to send us now for having his name.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Unlucky, Doug. You don't even know that this is coming, but you owe us a shirt. Joe Schreider, your son, you should know that by now, sent us a little message to say happy birthday. I made a right mess of that, haven't I? Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Doug. But yeah, both big Villa fans, both big podcast fans. So there you go.
I can't believe you messed that up.
I mean, this is why we'll never work in showbiz, because
some people might like it.
Yeah.
Some people might like this kind of incompetency.
Doug Schreider, happy birthday, happy 50th. They don't come around very often, so...
I'm fully expecting him not to be called Doug.
Can you imagine? That would be fair. Get in touch if you're not called Doug and you've worked out that this was supposed to be for you. 6 on the spin, Aston Villa. We're fifth.
Yeah,
What's going on?
Well, not at last, but it's in our own hands, which is, considering where we were 6-7 weeks ago, just feels ridiculous that now we've actually put it in our own hands. The swing has been unbelievable.
Sheffield Wednesday 1, Aston Villa 3. It was a bit of a smash and grab. You said off air it was a bit ironic that to be dominated by a Steve Bruce team and come away with the win.
Yeah,
it's a sweet irony.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not one of those people that hates Steve Bruce or thinks that he really deserves to get beat. He deserves that. It's nice to beat him because he did become a little bit of a broken record by the time that he left. And I do think in the end it got a bit tedious, and he was a little bit disrespectful, as well as some Villa fans as well being disrespectful. I think he was a little bit disrespectful as well. I've got to admit, when I heard his post-match, I thought, I don't really miss you.
Yeah.
Because he's so samey. He's saying the same things at Sheffield Wednesday as he was saying when he was Villa manager, isn't it?
I sat and watched it, and I sat and watched it today, his press conference, and he just looked absolutely gutted to have lost. Which one? I mean, they've been on an unbeaten run since he arrived, so that's gutting. But to lose to Villa and to lose in the manner that they did,
the players that went against him as well, really, Adomah and Steer, two players that he didn't really get on with.
Absolutely, and then it's frustrating for him because Sheffield Wednesday played well. They were well. I mean, more than well organised, more than well drilled. What are you going to say?
Just because you made me like, you said Sheffield Wednesday played well, and then you went, they were well, and then you didn't really say anything.
Yeah, but they looked good. They played good football. They were creative. Barry Banham was a strong influence in their side.
Yeah, you'd expect him to be a good player.
And they had chances to go ahead again, and they just couldn't get it done. Should we come on to what Steve Bruce said even before we've got to the actual game?
You can do, Tom. They're very electronic, the notes tonight.
Yeah, I forgot to print them. It's cruel. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve. The second half particularly was an onslaught.
I bet that's over-exaggerated. I don't think it was an onslaught, was it?
They had the bulk of the chances. Adam Reach was very creative.
Not an onslaught, though. Onslaught. I'd like to see the stats. I've not seen the stats. I'd like to see what the statistics were.
Well,
shots on target, etc.
Watching the highlights after, because I was at a wedding on Wednesday, couldn't watch the game live.
Saturday, you mean?
That's what I said.
You said Wednesday.
Oh, I've done that again, haven't I?
Tom.
Struggling tonight. The second half particularly was an onslaught. We just needed that break, which never came, unfortunately. He said unfortunately about a dozen times in this 2 minute.
I mean, you're not in any position to be slagging off what people are saying so far this evening.
Yeah, true. I couldn't have asked for anything more, and on another day you win that game. Sometimes you don't get what you deserve, and it was one of them games. With the spice of it being against Aston Villa, it's always more disappointing.
Yeah, see, why say something like that? The spice of it being against Aston Villa. Was that more disappointing? You've made £2 million off getting the boot, to be fair, off Villa. Like, I don't know. I don't like that ending from him.
How do you think he felt in his own mind when it all ended at Villa? Obviously, you've had the cabbage. The results haven't been going the right way, but he obviously still thinks that he could have done what Dean Smith has done.
He couldn't.
He couldn't?
No, we were getting worse. Some of the games that I was at, they were just so poor. I always think of that Sheffield United day. Just how bad was it?
The
4-1. I mean, to be fair, we lost 3-0 to Wigan under Dean Smith. I'm sure that wasn't much better. But you just didn't see any signs of progress at any point this season under him. We were just going backwards because we got off to a decent start. I think we got 7 points from our first 3 games. Yeah. It was just uninspiring. It was dead.
I think the position had just become untenable, hadn't it? Even if he has the managerial ability to get a team into the playoffs, the relationship with Villa, with the players, with the club and with the fans had just got to a point where you couldn't overcome that anymore.
No, too many of the fans had turned against him as well. Once you lose the away fans, generally you're in trouble, and he'd lost the away fans completely. He lost the away fans that Sheffield United game, and I think that was the first defeat of the season when that came round as well. It just wasn't going to happen for him, and eventually I think the board were probably left with no choice.
Well, he got off to a great start. Sheffield Wednesday take the lead. It's Gary Hooper's only his second goal.
Apparently he hadn't scored since 2017.
December 2017. Yeah, it was his second appearance.
Has he been injured?
Yeah, I think so. Just constantly battling. Oh my goodness, battling injuries. I don't know what's in this.
Bring
but
back Dolan.
Some sort of tequila-based drink. So 7 minutes, Sheffield Wednesday go up, and we go on the WhatsApp group feeling a bit nervous because Steve Bruce's sides are generally hard to score against.
Yeah, because I've got to say, actually though, I'll come back to the point I made on the WhatsApp group that actually turned out to be true. But yeah, you go 1-0 down and you do fear the worst because we've been a Steve Bruce side, and you know that generally if you go ahead, you were okay. If you go behind, you're in a bit of trouble. So them going 1-0 up, and they've kept a few clean sheets since Bruce has gone in there as well. You did worry for us. It wasn't a good goal. I don't think the defence covered themselves in glory for that one. But yeah, obviously we know what happened, so you don't dwell on it too much now. But it wasn't a great goal.
No.
From our point of view.
It wasn't. I mean, George Boyd is in acres of space, which I'm a little bit perplexed about. And then he's very unselfish. The George Boyd of a few years ago when he was at Hull, I think would have taken that chance on and tried to score, but he just...
George Boyd knowledge coming from you. Would he have? I don't know. Do you know him? How do you know that?
Oh yeah,
how do you know he would have taken it?
No, but I don't know. I had a friend who followed Hull.
I just guy who works there. I forgot his name.
Yeah, Steve Reed. Yeah. And I don't know. I just followed George Boyd around a little bit, not literally.
One of Tom's favourites.
Anyway, he lays it across to Gary Hooper, and it couldn't be an easier finish. But I think Jed Steer was expecting the shot as well.
He dived early, Jed Steer. He nearly got there, like he just obviously anticipated what was going to happen, but you ain't going to save it from there.
Yeah. So
it's one of those things.
Sheffield Wednesday go 1-0 up. And, I mean, to back that point up, Steve Bruce, I think Sheffield Wednesday have only conceded 3 at home since he took over. So you're thinking this could be a tricky one. But Aston Villa, to their credit, straight back at it. And I think it's fair to say Aston Villa were the better team in the first half, and it is an absolutely delightful ball from Tyrone Mings.
Yeah, he made up for any error he was involved in for the first goal.
Yeah.
You're saying that about the first half. Aston, who was at the game, was texting me saying, this is just bang average, we don't look great here.
Right.
Even when we got back to 1-1, he was saying this isn't great, second half, we're not great. You don't care when you've won the game, but that was the message I was getting from someone who was there.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know how many beers he'd had, but that was the message I was getting.
But I think in comparison to Sheffield Wednesday, we were the better team in the first half. They were the better team in the second. Obviously, if you're there, you've got a better grasp of it than me. Unless you're Aston, maybe just wrong.
I mean, obviously we had the Forest game, didn't we? We went 1-0 down relatively early, and we got back pretty quickly.
Very quickly.
McGinn again.
Yeah.
And it's a good trait to have, isn't it? It's good resilience, because the longer it goes on at 1-0, the harder it is to see anyway you're going to win the game. But to get back straight away, it kind of puts you back on the front foot, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's about 20 minutes in, and Mings plays this beautiful 60, 70-yard raking ball, crossfield ball. Andre Green does really, really good work to even get there.
Yeah, he does.
And McGinn's running onto it. And the strike, I'm going to put this to you, I think it might be better than his first strike against Sheffield Wednesday, where he takes that volley. And
No,
it's
Tom.
unbelievable.
No, Tom.
Do you not think?
Nowhere near.
The technique needed for this, I think, is harder than the technique for that. He strikes it so cleanly.
I'm baffled by this.
But the first Wednesday goal
Yeah.
at home, when he scores that wonder goal, which is an absolute wonder goal,
The best goal we've scored this season. You're talking about it.
is an unbelievable goal, and it's probably still goal of the season. But the technique, the way he runs on it and opens his body
It's a
out,
good finish
it's
for sure.
Steven Gerrard-esque, I'd say. I'd say, I'm not saying it's better, but I say it's.
Well, you did
it's,
say that was what you said.
No, I put it as a question. I think I can't remember. It's they're on par. I think in terms of technical brilliance, I think they're on a par.
No, you're wrong. I think that goal, the goal he scored at home, is an unbelievable
But
strike.
don't you think the goal that he scores at home? I mean, I don't want to push this point too much. Is one that they might practice in training a little bit more. As in, not exactly.
I don't think either of them have practiced too much.
No, but the technical brilliance and just to come on and run onto that ball. I don't think John McGinn is going to get a chance like that ever again.
I think it's a great goal. I'm not saying it's not, but I think that first one, the one at home, is a once in a lifetime strike. I don't think that one is.
I would disagree, and I think it's going to be underrated forever.
Well, let's put it to the comments.
I don't think it's going to win.
Oh.
I've got no doubt it's not going to win. But to me,
just what point did you make in there?
to me, I think it's a better technical goal. It doesn't matter.
Find the word technical when the technique for that goal at home
is superb, but I think he practiced that more. Like the volley from the edge of the box, I think is something that he would have practiced as a kid forever.
The way he caught that though.
It's unbelievable. I watched it again today just because I wanted to check my own point against it, and I think it stands up. I'm fully prepared to be abused in the comments, and I don't really care because both
You'll
of
be
them.
abused, but I do think you're wrong. I don't think you'll get many people agree with you.
No,
if anyone.
That's fine. I don't need your validation.
Even your family's listening to this podcast now, going, "Why does he do this to himself? Why does he say these things?"
To me, that's. I think it stands up. But
The only person that might agree with you might be my dad, because he'll have forgotten about the McGinn goal.
Yeah.
That's literally the only person.
So McGinn's 6th of the season, and he's really, really come good. It's 4 in 4. I think he's scored now,
It's the first thing you've got right or not.
which is. It's just great. He's been. We've said it. I think we've said it every week since the international break. He's been a revelation, and since he had that two week suspension, and he's just been phenomenal.
Certainty for player of the season. No one else will come close. I wouldn't think. Mings might have a shout in the top 3, to be fair, and he's only been there for half a season, and Jack's probably second, and he hasn't played a whole season either.
Tammy.
That's true. I was unfair on Tammy then, to be fair. Yeah, I think he's an absolute certainty for player of the season. I don't think anyone else will be anywhere near him in terms of votes. And pound for pound, he's been a brilliant signing. 2.5 million. You can't argue with that, can you?
No, you absolutely can't. Moving on, Villa.
How are they with John McGinn now?
We talked a lot about John McGinn.
I know, but
last week.
I think to be honest, I think people have talked about John McGinn a lot of times when he's been okay. I think at the moment he's really took it up a level and he's great. Like, he started off really well for us, but I think he's streets ahead of where he was when he first came in. I think like everyone, he had an iffy period over Christmas, but everyone was still coming out saying McGinn's playing well. When actually, I think he dropped off. But now, he's been our best player over the last month or so, and that's saying a lot with Grealish coming back.
442 did a best 51 players of the championship. Did you see it?
Yeah, I happened to just buy it yesterday.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't read it. Yeah. But Grealish and Tammy Abraham are the only Villa players that make it in. And I
find that thing a bit farcical, the 51, because you've got people from League 2 in there.
Yeah.
They're obviously not the best 51 because they're playing in League 2.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I was going to say the same point, actually. But the one player that I would have liked to have seen in there was John McGinn. And I guess I don't know whether. I mean, I don't give 442 any benefit of the doubt because, like you say, they put in League 2 players.
They do it the way they do it at the end of the day.
Yeah, they do it however they want. But he's the one that I would have liked to have seen in there. differing thoughts on that? I mean
Mings is never going to get in because he wasn't here at the start of the season.
No, Grealish was 10. I think Abraham was 6.
It did say, if you read the Grealish blurb, it did say if he'd have been fit for the whole season, he'd be top. Basically, they said he was the best player in the Championship. Abraham probably about right, I would say, but McGinn's the best 50 in the Championship, and probably a few other Villa players would be as well if you're being realistic. But though McGinn should definitely be in there for sure.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, good.
Is that enough McGinn chat for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Have I satiated it?
No, I'm just really pleased for him. He seems like a great bloke.
He does, doesn't he?
As well, like a real heartbeat at the dressing room. Everyone loves him. You kind of look at him and laugh. Whenever I see him, he makes me laugh. That sounds bad.
It does sound bad.
He's got a funny face. He's got a funny face.
Is that me and McGinn in the same bracket?
No, don't compare yourself to Joe.
Villa's creativity at corners is something I wanted to touch on with you. There was a couple of times, one that certainly sticks out against Wednesday, which was Grealish took the corner, played a short corner, then laid it off, and I think it was Whelan on the edge of the box, and then he lays it off to El Mohammadi. Like, there's a nice little set piece working there. We seem to be a lot more creative with corners. Obviously, Grealish's goal came from a different kind of corner. Do you see that? Do you see that when you're watching the game?
Like the Derby Grealish goal.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. I think we just. I mean, from what I hear, Bruce on the training ground, we didn't do a fat lot. Whereas Dean Smith demands that you do stuff, and I think there's a lot of intricate play that's going on with Villa at the moment, and there's a lot of things that are worked on at the training ground. And if you work hard at the training ground, it bears the fruit of your labours in the game, in my opinion. And I just think we're playing really, even though we didn't play the best on Saturday. I think we're looking really good at the moment. We're resilient when we need to be. We can score goals. We can now defend. We've now got people back, so we've got options. We can freshen it up. I fully expect us to make a few changes on Wednesday and freshen it up just a little bit, which you need to do when you've had a run of games. And then Saturday, I'm so excited for Saturday now. The Bristol City game, it's such a big game. If we win that, I think we really will have not done enough because there's still games to go, but I think we've really then put ourselves in a phenomenal position that none of us could have dreamed possible.
Villa Park has already sold out, isn't it?
Not a surprise.
Yeah. That just shows the optimism and the excitement and the buzz that you're just talking about.
Yeah, I mean, you could also say people are thinking, well, I might need a Wembley ticket there.
Yeah.
Which I think there is obviously an element of that, but I've seen a few comments on Twitter where I don't like the better fan arguments. I mean, someone had to go with us for not being at every away game the other day. Every fan does what they can. They said they like Villa on tour better because they're at every game.
Yeah.
They can be. We simply can't with our lives. That we can't do that. In my opinion, one, everyone does what they want to do.
Yeah.
Two, everyone does what they can do. So no one fan is better than the other. Everyone loves Aston Villa exactly the same.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah.
It's nice that we're on a par.
Yeah.
For the first time. Sheffield Wednesday had a couple of really nice shots. Barry Bannon was on the end of some intricate play, puts it just past Jed Steer's post, and then Adam Reach as well has a chance which whistles past Steer's post. So they had their chances, Sheffield Wednesday.
They had the penalty.
We'll get onto the penalty in a minute. There's some chronological order here, mate.
I do have to sometimes step in and think, has he forgotten about that? Even though it's right in front of him on the notes. Will he remember to say that? And
there was also a point where Tyrone Mings gave the ball straight to Gary Hooper's feet, and Hooper plays in Stephen Fletcher, but it's a nice bit of defending by Courtney Hawes to save the day. So Tyrone Mings had a bit of a day to forget, because we'll come on to the penalty too.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it was his best day from what I've seen, but I think we can forgive him enough, and it hasn't cost us.
But
you can forgive someone who's. Everyone talks about Grealish turning the season round when he's come back. Well, I've got to say, Mings has made a big impact since he's been here. I think you won't find many Villa fans that aren't in love with the man.
No,
He's just phenomenal.
He seems to be the one player that nobody has a bad word to say about, because even Pat Tolley says a bad word about Jack.
Pat will never change that.
I don't think I've ever seen anything bad written about Mings, especially since after those first 3 or 4 games where there was a bit of a thing about the crowd photo. Since then, there's definitely never been anything.
I mean, he came in when we were at a pretty low ebb, to be fair, and we were conceding goals left, right and centre. So I'd say from that regard, he was always going to be liked, because he was better than what we were seeing before he came in. But he has been such a good signing.
But he could have come in and not cared at all, couldn't he? And like, if his attitude wasn't right and he wasn't demanding that everyone got better, then we could still be in that.
Oh, he's a real leader. I never had it. I mean, we spoke about Mings a lot in the last few podcasts, but I didn't have in my mind what a leader he was.
Yeah.
And that's naivety a little bit from me. He may have always been like that, but he's come here and he's just thought, right, I'm not messing around here. I'm going to come in and demand high standards, and I'm going to get the fans behind me. I'm going to get us going, and I think he has. He's done that.
Having said that, the penalty was an absolute stonewaller.
Oh yeah, no
very
arguments.
clumsy.
Did he even argue? I don't think he did. Did he? I think he just resigned himself that he'd made a mistake.
Yeah, that was it. I think he got a booking for it, and that seems fair enough. But it was just very not like Mings. I thought I just haven't seen him kind of make that error of judgment before.
I think people have said that we're at the game that Stephen Fletcher caused him more problems than any player has since he's been at Villa. So obviously, sometimes you just do come up against a player that causes you problems. I remember Gareth Southgate was great for us. He was always brilliant, always a 7 out of 10. But any time we played Leicester and Heskey was playing, Heskey would just bully him,
really,
and he couldn't deal with it. So I think every now and again you just come up against a player and you have to hold your hands up and say, he gave me a difficult day. And Stephen Fletcher, he's not a flashy player, is he? But he's been around the block.
He's a good pro.
Championship level, he's a decent striker, isn't he? He can be a handful and he'll cause you problems. Like similar to Jordan Rhodes, I think on his day he can be a bit of a handful and cause you problems. And Mings had a bad day. But at the end of the day, he's come away with 3 points. So it doesn't matter.
And the penalty, Stephen Fletcher should do an awful lot better. It's a poor penalty. Jed Steer,
it's quite central, isn't it?
Yeah, I give him credit to get down so quickly and block it off, but it's because he gets down with his hands, doesn't he, or his body? But it's so close to him.
It's not a great penalty.
It's a very poor penalty.
Still, though, if Steer goes the wrong way, it's a goal. When Steer said that they did their research, I mean, I think every team does that, to be fair. They must all look at the penalty takers.
Lots of people said that that's what Fletcher does, though. Like, he just blasts it low and barely centre.
Did he even get that much power behind it?
Not enough, clearly.
Didn't feel the angle I've seen of it, which is only one, didn't feel like it had much power on it. It's a good save, though. Can't take away from Jed Steer, because that's a game-changing moment. That's turned the game for us.
Yeah, for sure.
2-1 down, you're in a bit of trouble, I think.
Yeah, and Sheffield Wednesday, to their credit, at this point are very much in the ascendancy. It's not long before Adam Reach has another cross which goes right across the
flash right across the goal.
Yeah, and
that could hit anyone and go in, can't it?
Fletcher's stretching for it and he can't quite get there. A younger striker, Tammy Abraham, gets on the end of that.
Yeah.
So
Neil Taylor's had to make a very good tackle in the second half.
Neil Taylor is somebody that we haven't talked about yet, and by all accounts had a very, very good game.
I saw someone I can't remember who it was, on Twitter earlier, that the Birmingham Mail were asking fans to describe Neil Taylor, obviously looking for a bit of clickbait, I think, and someone said he's over-hated, which I quite liked. I think that's fair. He's never been as bad as some people have said. He never quite reached the heights of when he first came in last season, and he made a few mistakes, but I don't think he was ever as bad as people say. And when Smith first came in and Taylor was getting picked, I thought he was pretty consistent. A bad game at Wigan, got done way too easily for their first goal, I think it was. But he's come back into the team again since he came off for Elphick in the Derby game. He's kept his place, hasn't he?
Yeah,
he's been good.
Yeah.
He's not flashy going forward. He's not the best going forward. But what he does offer is a bit of balance and always on the overlap.
Mark J says Neil Taylor placed 23 accurate passes for a 79% pass success rate against Wednesday. He is quietly going about his business, but has shown over the last 2 games to be very solid at key moments. Is he in the best form of his career under Dean Smith? I think he's got to be, hasn't he? I don't think he's ever played
he's
as well.
played in Euro semi-finals.
Sorry, for Villa, for sure.
Yeah, he was good when he first came in Bruce's first half a season. When Bruce first brought him in, Amavi had been having problems and he was having a bad time defensively. Neil Taylor came in and he did solid us up. To be fair, we were just non-existent going forward. When I say he's not good going forward, he's not exactly like I can't think of a better example than like Kyle Walker on the other side for Man City bombing on. He's never going to do that, Neil Taylor. Well, I'm saying he's not that good going forward. He's tidy in possession. He's a better footballer than I think he gets credit for. You think of that Swansea team that got promoted and played under Brendan Rodgers the first year in the Premier League. They were known as a good footballing side, and he was in that team, and he was playing well, and he can knock the ball around. He's a decent player, Neil Taylor.
Yeah.
And as overhated is the perfect description of him.
I think that's fair. There was a point where Sheffield Wednesday could have had arguments for a penalty. Glenn Whelan gets into the back of Hooper again, who seems to have caused us a few issues as well. Looks like it could have been slightly soft, and Hooper doesn't appeal too much about it, and play goes on. But it's one of those that there's definitely hands there, and you've seen them given.
I'm going to have to ask some Wenger it, because I haven't seen it.
Nah.
So I can't comment on it, so we're going to have to go off your expert knowledge.
Well, there you go.
For this one.
Could have been given, wasn't given. Referee seemed to have a decent day, generally.
Of course you're going to say that. I mean, if he didn't have a good day, you're not going to come here and say ref was crap.
I absolutely would. We did this last week. We did this last week with the Chelsea game.
Yeah, that's Chelsea, though.
Right, okay.
I've never heard you say a ref against Villa was bad. Even when there's been some shockers.
I've said when decisions are bad. I've just defended the refs in general. Anyway, we won't get onto it. So, the magic moment comes in... Oh, we're all right. Don't worry.
Nearly a technical problem there.
The magic moment comes in the last... When the injury time, the 90 is gone. 92nd minute, Grealish picks up the ball. Little knock to Kodja. Kodja, decent strike and a good save from Westwood. And that man, like you said earlier... He was outcast under Steve Bruce, but Albert Adomah gets his recompense.
If we say he was outcast, I mean, yeah, he wasn't getting picked too much, and Bruce kind of stumbled onto having to pick him last season, and then he obviously went on to be top scorer. All the business in the summer, I'm not sure it's as black and white as people think it is from what I've heard, but he obviously had a point to prove to Steve Bruce, and at that point, Steve Bruce must be thinking, of all the people. Like with Jed Steer saving the penalty as well, had to be them too.
Yeah.
Didn't it? And his celebration was funner.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that was the reason he was being moved on. Is he that old?
I was going to ask that to you. Is that the reason that he was being turfed out? But I mean, Steve Bruce loves an old player, so I'm not sure that would have been
Steve Bruce on Glenn Whelan.
Yeah.
So, Jedinak. Exactly. I know he didn't sign Jedinak, he imitated, but he picked all those players.
But we had a bunch of them. Jedinak, Hutton. It was a very old team, generally.
Yeah, that's true. I hadn't thought of that. Yeah. But... funny celebration anyway.
Yeah,
made me laugh,
and he will have really
actually a good
enjoyed
finish
that.
as well. Tight angle.
Yeah, had to make it work, and he did. And then Tammy Abraham wraps up the points, which again, what I think is a really smart finish.
Assistance.
I read a couple of articles where they said it was a scrappy goal. I just thought he did so well to stay on his feet, turn, and then slide it in, and I thought it was a really smart finish.
He just made something of nothing, really. I think if we're going back, I didn't mention it at the time, and I meant to. Going back to the first goal, Andre Green's chased a lost cause. Not a lost cause because it's a raking ball from Tyrone Mings. It's a great pass.
Yeah.
It's a good effort of a pass, but it's on its way out, and Andre Green does what he can to get there. Doesn't give up on it. Without getting on Kodja's back, for example, if he'd have been on the wing, I'm not sure he makes that much effort to get there.
Yeah.
Andre Green gets there and gets it across, and it's made a goal for us. Tammy Abraham's made something out of nothing there because the chance has gone, but he's just persisted and fought. And he's tucked it away. Adomah for the second goal as well, following up, to be fair. We talk about, which a number of times we must have been on a podcast and talked about defensively, where were the Villa players following up?
Last week, yeah.
Adomah's followed up and tucked it away. He's done his job. So just good persistence. It's all things that bode well.
I think that's one of Tammy Abraham's best successes, is that he's always following in on things and he grabs those little goals. And you're right, he actually loses the ball to the defender and then is strong enough to win it back. And we'll go back to what we talked about last week, where you said, you know, when Abraham has that time to think, he is calm and cool under pressure, and he proved it, killing the game off and winning it, not winning it for us, but solidifying it in the 96th minute. He never switches off.
I mean, we had a rubbish 3 months, didn't we? Absolute rubbish, where we all thought no chance of us going up. Last season, many a time we would talk about what a likeable squad this was. Look at that team at the moment. It's a very likeable squad again, isn't it? Mckeon, Grealish, Tammy. It's players that you like. And it's Mings. It's just good to see. Again, you feel like it's won again. At times last season you felt like it, but now I don't know. It just feels different with Dean Smith.
It's interesting because you say that, because Dave Alford said that there was a question. When was the last time you felt like the squad and the club was this together? And I kind of felt back. I was like,
We beat Wolves 4-1.
This time last year.
Yeah,
and we were looking like we were going to go into the playoffs. Snodgrass was a real personable character. John Terry. We had all these guys, and they seem to be loving their football together. You know, it wasn't that long ago.
No.
Winning breeds happiness, doesn't it, essentially?
I mean, obviously it could all end up meaning nothing if we don't get into the top six, and ultimately if we don't get ourselves promoted. But what's going on at the moment is quite enjoyable, because I think last season, after probably from January, February, we knew we were going to be playoffs, I think. Obviously we were still pushing for automatics, but we had no idea that at the very least we were going to be in the top six. I think this last 5-6 weeks has just come from nowhere. It's made it more enjoyable in some ways because it's unexpected.
There's a Twitter account at experimental361 run by a guy called Ben Mayhew.
I have seen
Have you
this.
seen
Yeah.
this? So he's basically a football nerd. Does all these kind of predictions.
If you're getting called a nerd by Tom Julian,
hey, listen, I'm a nerd as well. That's fine. But I think he's quite open that he's a nerd. But it's all these computations and predictions, all this kind of thing. So
you called someone a nerd, and then you've used the word computation.
Listen, I just said I was a nerd.
I don't even know what it means. I've never even heard that word in my life.
It's like math stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, in February, Ben did the table, like most likely to finish in the playoffs or in the automatics, and Villa had an under 5% chance. You fast forward that to now, and we're over 80% chance to finish in the playoffs, which is just incredible. And again, all credit to Dean Smith and the team and the people behind the scenes as well that have put this six in a row together, to Captain Jack and his band of merry men, because it's just unbelievable. And like you say, everybody's excited for the Bristol City game now, and it's just such a good mood around the stadium.
So I'm focused on the Bristol City game, so obviously I'm going to that one, but we've got a big game Wednesday against a team that's trying to stay up. It's important that we don't lose. Not us, it doesn't matter what we do at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's important that the player, and I'm sure they won't, it's important that the players don't lose focus. One of our biggest wins last season, but we thought we were on to something, was when we beat Wolves 4-1. Midweek, we go and lose 3-1 to QPR at home, win the game that you think was certain to win. People will be looking at Rotherham and thinking, oh, Villa have won 6 in a row. Going to little old Rotherham, they should go there and win, but it doesn't work like that. Rotherham have been good at home, I think. I think they've got a decent home record this season. I think it's been away that's let them down. But to be fair to them, even just being in the mix to stay up at this point is an achievement for them.
They got battered by Derby 2 weeks ago, didn't they? I don't know how they got
it was away, though, wasn't it? They won at the weekend.
No,
they won 2-1.
Against...
I can't remember, but they definitely won.
Where are we?
Nottingham Forest.
Oh, that's a good result.
Yeah, so that's a good result at home. So we've got to be careful going there on Wednesday.
Totally. And again, Dave Alford had 2 questions, and they're both getting mentioned early. Not because they did a swap with you.
No, you didn't even know about that.
No,
did you?
Exactly. He said, "Are we in danger of focusing on the Bristol City game, getting carried away?" I think it's okay for fans to get carried away because, you know, home fans, you're going to that game. That's fine. I don't think the players are going to get carried away. No. I just don't think Dean Smith would let that happen.
The good thing is now is that I think there's no doubt Adomah will start, and I think I'd be pretty sure that Horahan will start over Whelan on Wednesday. There's 2 players there that have got a point to prove, that want to get back in the team, because at the moment they're not in the first 11. So you're bringing in hungry players that need to impress. They need to do well. We've seen how well when the midfielders sat out in recent weeks, they found it tough to get back in.
Yeah.
So Connor will be trying to do that and make it hard for Whelan to get back in on Wednesday. So a couple of changes, freshen it up a little bit. There's no reason we can't go there and win, obviously, but you do have to be on your guard, because it's always these kind of games that trip you up. It's no good going and get what's probably our best result of the season, 3-1 at Sheffield Wednesday, and then losing to Rotherham. Because to be fair, it's a good result on Saturday for a number of reasons. Because of the swing as well.
Yeah.
Because Sheffield Wednesday could have been right up alongside us.
A point behind us, yeah.
Other results have been decent for us at the weekend as well. Bristol City not winning. Obviously, if you're saying to me, if we were offered to win one or lose one of the next 2 games, you take losing to Rotherham every time and you beat Bristol City on Saturday. But if we can win both, we haven't just done a magnificent job.
Yeah, another player that will have his eye on the first team sheet is Axel Tuanzebe.
Yeah, I think he'll be coming in as well.
He came on for Courtney Hawes in the 53rd minute, I think it was, and not entirely sure what's wrong with Hawes, but again, it might be a good game for Hawes to sit out, get some minutes for Tuanzebe as we go into the final push of the season.
From what I hear, I don't think Courtney Hawes will play. On Wednesday. I think Jed Steer's got a knock as well, but from what I hear, he should be okay.
Right.
We could do with him being okay, because Kalinic is injured for a few weeks at the moment as well. It would be a big ask to just chuck Sarkic in at this stage. Although I'm not sure what's happened to Mark Bunn. Where's he gone?
Do you think Mark Bunn would come in at this stage? Like,
he's not on the bench, is he? Which makes sense, because you may as well give Sarkic the experience. But then if we were down to Bunn and Sarkic, would he pick Bunn? I don't know. Part of me thinks Dean Smith would pick Sarkic.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'd respect him for that. Yeah. Like, because Bunn is on his way out. Sarkic is potentially the future.
Let's hope that Steer's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right.
You said Steer had his own section in the...
I did, yeah. Well, we're coming on to that. We've got a few questions. Again, there's an order of things. It's twice you've called me out.
There's an order of things, but I see you going...
Well, sometimes you say things, so I have to adapt.
Okay.
You know, it's more than just doing the notes. You know, you've got to know where your notes are. And,
easier on the computer, I would argue. better on the computer. Usually you're faffing around with paper. You're all over the place.
I feel more at home with paper. You know, it's nice to feel it, isn't it?
That kind of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And then when the internet came around, you weren't sure about that. Well, that's not going to catch up.
we had dial-up until last year. Matt Collins, Smith rightly says that we should focus on performance, not just the result. Is there cause for concern with 2 second halves, or is it just one of those things? So and ENF as well. For the second game in a row, there's been a big dip in second half performance, which suggests tiredness issues. Is it time to change up the midfield? Now, I don't know if you saw AVTV did an interview with Dean Smith straight after the game, and Smith said this openly himself. He said, "I should have done subs earlier. We need to change things up. The boys are a little bit tired." So he knows. He knows.
Changes that
Wednesday. Exactly. He knows that this team is tired and it's played unbelievably well. But now is the time to freshen things up, especially in the midfield, who's been working so hard.
Again, I harp back on about that Wolves win last season. Then Bruce kept the same team, didn't he, on Wednesday? And it completely backfired. So I think Dean Smith, from what he's saying, will. I'm sure he'll make change anyway, but that just amplifies it to me. He'll definitely make changes.
Matt Collins also says, "When have you had as good a 2 minutes as that?" I think there's a wink in there. I mean, probably 9 months before Alfie was born. Imagine that was it.
2 minutes.
No, exactly.
You'd have been pleased with 2 minutes.
You got one? You got 2 minutes? A great 2 minutes?
I've put in many great 2 minute performances,
yeah,
mate.
I'm sure. I've gone through all these. Max Wilkins, is it just me? This is an interesting one. Is it just me that thinks that Green and Taylor, who had a decent game against Wednesday, are the weak links in our team at the moment? Always enjoy the podcast. I mean, you've said that's a bit of a bit of a crap sandwich, isn't it? We've gone with the bad stuff, and then you've brought it. That's not even a sandwich, is it? It's just two things whacked together.
Sandwiches, you are.
I don't mind a sandwich, but you've kind of covered a bad point and saved it with "I like the podcast." What do you think?
I think it's harsh to say anyone's a weak link at the moment. You've won 6 in a row.
Exactly what I would think, yeah.
I don't think as Villa fans, many of us are guilty. We just have to look for the bad.
Yeah.
We just have to look for just focus on the good at the moment. There's a lot to be happy about. The bad was January, February, when we were all over the place.
Also, Andre Green's not played that much. For him to be the weak link, I think, would be slightly harsh. I mean, Neil Taylor's had some bad performances, there's no doubt about that, but this, as I just said, I think is one of his best runs in a Villa shirt.
I say with Green as well, he's a young kid. I can't remember how old he is. I don't think he's more than 20.
Yeah.
Andre Green. A lot of injuries in his career, so he's not played as many games as he perhaps should for someone of his ability. He's also playing out of position. It's obviously not out of position because he's a winger, but he's played most of his career on the left. He's trying to kind of find his feet in a new role at the moment. His whole game previously was based on being tricky and cutting in. He's now having to find new ways to get past people on the other side. So I'd say actually he's doing very well, Andre Green.
I would think he is having the time of his life right now because, like you say, he
needs to stay fit.
He has battled with injuries, and now he's had a little run in the team. It's probably decent for him to have a break. You know, like you say, Adomah maybe.
I think he will come out for Adomah, I would think.
But I think full credit to Andre Green. I don't agree Max Wilkins right now because he had a stupendous game. Setting up that goal was absolutely lovely, and like you say, he's learning his trade still, and I think he's got huge potential.
He's a very, very useful player, Andre Green, and if we don't make it up and we're having to kind of build from the ground up again, he'll be a big part of it next season. He was always rated very highly. Tim Sherwood was always talking about Andre Green, wasn't he? When he was, I can't remember when it was, but when he was there, he was saying as a kid in the academy, Andre Green, really, really talented player. And Tim Sherwood liked the youth, to be fair, didn't he?
Tim Sherwood's. That's his role, isn't it? Youth. He's much better at identifying youth than being a manager, I'd say.
I mean,
he was good at Spurs.
Villa's a manager of a graveyard, to be fair. You lose the Villa job, you don't work again. That's Tim Sherwood done since he's left.
Didn't he have a job for like 9 days or something like that?
He was Swindon director of football.
That was it, yeah.
For a bit. David O'Leary did nothing when he left Villa. John Gregory didn't really. Brian Little even didn't really go on and have any success when he left Villa. When you leave Villa as a manager, it seldom goes well.
Watch this space, Steve Bruce.
Yeah, well, I think he's one of those managers that will just always get a job.
Yeah.
Steve Bruce, there'll always be someone who thinks he's got a good track record of getting teams up. Here we go.
Did you see EFL Quest this weekend?
I don't watch that, mate.
Ian Holloway was on EFL Quest, and I only watched the Villa bit, but he was very supportive of his old pal Bruce. He was like,
that's the thing. Can we talk about that article from Alan Biggs?
Alan Biggs.
My word.
Yeah, the whole world's against us.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And Carlton Palmer.
I saw that, yeah.
As well, I used to live by me, Carlton Palmer. It's like, what are they What are they on about? I don't think anyone cares except for Villa and Sheffield Wednesday fans about that game, genuinely.
Yeah, for sure.
I think when someone's picking up £2 million for leaving, I don't think you can be, like, not too supportive of them. I don't mean it like that, but, like, I think Bruce is all right, isn't he? I don't think he's going to be lying awake at night thinking about Villa sacking him.
Well, here's the thing. Villa fans were fed up of Bruce. Bruce appeared, by all respects, to be fed up of Villa at that stage. You know, it wasn't particularly amicable the way he left. It's gone on because Bruce's family is on Twitter and they like to defend him, which is absolutely their right, and that is you do what you want on Twitter to a point, and if they want to carry it on. But that's where it's gone. It's got to the point where it's a social media battle, and Steve Bruce isn't really involved.
Not even on social media.
Exactly. I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Bruce doesn't care, except for his professional reputation. He didn't want to lose that game, but now it's kind of over and done with, and just let's let it be.
What I always think in these situations is, should he be getting cabbages rolled at him and getting personal abuse?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
He should not be getting abuse. People can not like his football and think he's not a very good manager. That's fine, that's by the by.
Yeah.
People have their opinions, that's that. But I do find it hard to be quite sympathetic when, if you're unhappy, as Bruce appeared to be, you can just quit. Lambert could have just quit, but they don't, because they want the payoff.
Yeah.
So I do find it difficult to have sympathy. But as I say, I've never agreed with personal abuse of any footballer, any football personnel at all. But he's not done badly out of Villa, and he did okay. Enjoyable season last season, as I always say.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Ian Holloway, he opened it up with, how interesting is it that Steve Bruce was judged not to be the right man for Villa, and yet he's making Sheffield Wednesday look wonderful. I just felt that was so out of touch from Ian Holloway, who is an old school manager. He's in the same camp as Bruce and all these older guys, and it's just like, it's just completely irrelevant. What an irrelevant point, and yet I brought it up, so maybe it's my fault.
Yeah, but then there's a lot of these out of touch people around. The Gordon Strachan thing on the debate. I don't know whether you've seen that. The people that sat with him are just cringing. I mean, for anyone who hasn't seen it, I don't even want to get into it. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's so bad.
He's talking about racism issues and whether Adam Johnson should be subject to abuse because it's essentially the same thing. And it's just like,
unbelievable.
No, it's not.
You can see the people that sat with him. Is it Andros Townsend's dad? You can see the bewilderment on his face. It's just uncomfortable. The whole thing's uncomfortable. I mean, he's been binned now, hasn't he, by Sky?
Well, I'm not surprised.
What is he thinking?
It's just an absolute brain fart, isn't it? And farts are always funny, but brain farts are not.
I mean, I don't know if it's a brain fart. Just, like you said, just...
Do you think he's just out of touch? Yeah.
I think genuine... I mean, he's come out and apologised and used another big word that I don't know, that I can't remember what it is now, that makes me think he didn't write it.
Right.
But, like... It just shows that I think that's obviously his genuine opinion, because he wouldn't be saying it if it wasn't his opinion.
Yeah,
you know, I think he just thinks everyone's going to be there going, "Good point, Gordon."
Well, I think the guys around him were just like, "Okay, I'm not sure I should be nodding at this," because they just weren't expecting that to happen.
I mean, I would be a terrible poker player. If I'd have been sat there, and that would involve me getting some TV work. if I was sat there, I wouldn't have been able to hide my face. I'd have been like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
What is he thinking here?
There you go.
I'm going to give Martin Hanks a shout, because I think he listens to the podcast. Absolutely obliterated me on social media earlier. Made me laugh out loud in the office. Because obviously, my rabbit was on the Sky Q box earlier, under one of the sections. You could see a picture of my rabbit.
How did he get that gig?
Someone just she.
Oh, sorry.
Someone just asked, do you want your rabbit to be on the Sky Q box, because we need some images of bunnies to be over there for Easter. We were like, oh yeah, so we sent a few over. There she is.
Wow.
On the Sky Q box, and Martin Hanks quote tweeted it saying, when your rabbit gets more TV work than you do. Which, to be fair, hit the absolute nail on the head. It was very funny, but
didn't it?
Do one, Martin.
Dean Smith's comments in this stage of the season where we're pushing to get a playoff spot. We were on a 5-game winning run, and now we've got that to 6. It was very much a tale of two halves. First half we started well, and then we got caught. We controlled the ball. I thought we looked dangerous, but we didn't work the goalkeeper as much as we should have. Listen, at the end of the day, what an excellent smash and grab it was, and delighted to get away.
How many times have we not smash and grabbed
from Hillsborough with 3 points?
How many times have we scored late goal? I mean, to be fair, actually a few this season, but in general, Villa have never been a team in my lifetime that have scored late goals.
No.
It's always very satisfying when it happens because it does. I'm sure every football fan feels like this. It does always feel like the late goals go against us. Think of the Leeds game earlier in the season. When that happens, I just think, typical Villa.
I think the difference with the Leeds game was that they were building and building and building. You saw it coming. Whereas this was a fairly even affair, if not Sheffield Wednesday had the slight upper hand. So that it really was a steal, and you can see why Bruce.
I mean, for the second goal, they may well have been put off by Jonathan Codger's haircut. It is outrageous.
I feel like I agreed to get Jonathan Codger's haircut if something happened.
Oh, hopefully it was if we won 3-1 at Sheffield.
And there definitely wasn't that.
Definitely like to see that.
It was about a month ago, and I was like, somebody sent it in on hairstyles, and I was like, I don't mind it. And somebody was like,
rascal.
Yeah, exactly. That's a bit of me.
That is not you.
That's a bit of me. Anyway,
this is a guy who thinks having a number 5 fade.
If we were going up, then maybe I said I get it. I can't remember what the actual rule was. If anybody remembers what it was, then I'm not sure I can.
By all means, just make something up that means Tom has to do something bad.
I need some proof. Let's have a quick look at the table then. Norwich City stayed top after another convincing win. Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I did. I saw extended highlights of it. Just find it funny that earlier on in the season, in about September or October, I said, I'm fed up of seeing Pookie's name. Norwich won't last.
Yeah,
and they have.
He's player of the year.
He's continued to just be unbelievable. Like, he's never done anything anywhere near what he's done this season. It's funny.
Yeah,
it's a funny name, Puka.
Yeah, they've won 8 on the bounce. So
fair play to them because they're going up.
It's Villa and Norwich, the informed teams.
Informed fan channel as well. They're getting all kinds of interviews with ex-players and stuff. Aren't
they did a live podcast with a couple. Wes Hoolahan and another guy, I think.
Upsets me. We can't get anyone for love nor money, can we?
Well,
if you know any old Villa players who you think might like to talk to us, particularly Marlon Harewood.
If you know any old Villa players, probably not current players, but any old Villa players, we'd definitely like to be in touch.
Yeah, I'd like to do something like that.
If you could send their names with the signed shirts that you're sending, that would be great.
Yeah, we need more shirts. We definitely need more shirts. Tom's told me that he's not buying any now for the next month or so.
We'll see.
Which I don't believe. I can't resist. I'm on eBay every day.
I've got a couple coming in, so I need to.
Looking forward to seeing what you're wearing next week.
Slow it down. So Sheffield United in second. It looks like Norwich have pulled way ahead now. They're
done.
They're 7 points ahead of Sheffield United and 8 points ahead of Leeds. So Leeds lost to Birmingham, didn't they, this weekend? Which is a real. Birmingham have done the double on Leeds.
Yeah, they took great joy in celebrating that.
I mean, fair play to them. That was a massive result for them as well.
When you're 17th in the league, though.
Well, yeah, but they were in danger of slipping down because the results around them.
How many points did they lose? 9.
They've lost 9. Yeah,
52. They'd only be 14th if they.
But what I mean, if they hadn't won that. And they were down at 41. You're
happy days.
You're 1 game away from being in the bottom 3.
Rotherham need to win, really, don't they? On Wednesday, looking at that league table.
They do, yeah.
It's tight down there.
So Leeds United currently 3rd, West Brom in 4th, Aston Villa in 5th, and Bristol City 1 point behind Villa in 6th. Then you've got Derby County, and then you're getting a little bit away now from Middlesbrough, Nottingham Forest, Preston, and Hull. So kind of pulling away. And as you said right at the start of the show, the destiny is in our own hands now.
And that's, as I said at the start, amazing for it to be in our own hands. I just hope we can now see it through. Goal difference is pretty good, isn't it, compared to those that are beneath us as well, which is essentially an extra point, isn't it?
Yep.
I'm thinking about who would you rather have in. I'm sure someone's probably asked this. Who would you rather have in the playoffs? Would you rather Leeds or Sheffield United win up automatically?
So I'm just going to say I haven't put any of these questions in the comments because generally we were in the notes because we've been avoiding these, but you've brought it up.
I'm just thinking
because we've had a couple of comments about who'd you like to play and also a comment from whether we can catch West Brom or not. Now West Brom are in pretty decent form, so it'd be unlikely
to make up 7 points without having to play that team with 6 games left. Sorry, I think that's a big ask.
Here's the thing. I'd like to play.
I'm not saying would I like to play them at any point. I'm just saying who.
I'd rather West Brom, I think, than either.
No, that's not what I'm asking, Thomas.
I thought that's what you said.
No, I'm asking between Leeds and Sheffield United, who are obviously the ones gunning for automatics. Who would you rather dropped into the playoffs?
At Leeds.
Do you think just because it feels like they fall apart?
I think they're the ones that are in a little bit of poor form, and I think they'll be exhausted. I've said this a couple of times. I think they'll be exhausted from the way they've played football, and they've been expected to go up this whole time. They'll just be a bit deflated. I know there's a lot of stat, and obviously Fulham finished 3rd last year and still went up. I don't particularly buy into finishing 3rd will cost them. I just think they'll be exhausted and a bit deflated. I
mean, Fulham went up in that 3rd last year, but I do usually think the team that Yeah, if you've fallen flat and ended up finishing third, like, I've just got a feeling for a Leeds Villa final.
It's a good final. It's a good final for the neutral.
It's a good final for the neutral, but I don't know. That's two teams in my mind that should be in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's horrible.
Ideally, I'd like Leeds and Villa to go up.
I thought they outplayed us earlier on in the season. Obviously, we've got to play them again, but
So did Sheffield United.
that's true. Yeah. I don't know. But that's difficult.
But it's a completely different...
It's irrelevant, really, isn't it?
The previous games are done because we are in such good form. I don't think that we should fear anybody.
I don't fear anybody.
But I think Leeds are more intimidating than Sheffield United, if that's fair, and maybe it's not fair.
So a Leeds Villa final would mean us finishing fifth, wouldn't it? Which would mean a West Brom semi-final, which again would just be absolutely tantalising, but also horrible at the same time. There's no good days. I don't like last year. I remember being reasonably happy with Middlesbrough in the semis last year. It was just Fulham I wasn't happy about.
Yeah.
They fell off a cliff, Middlesbrough, haven't they?
Yeah.
They've had an absolute... No, I'm surprised Pulis is still there. I mean, they're still got half a
But
chance.
they've lost 6 on the bounce, I think.
That's a terrible time to go on a bad run, because I think I had them down... in top 2 in our pre-season predictions, Middlesbrough.
That's not just a bad run. That's the worst form in the Championship. And you're
That's worse than Ipswich.
You're a playoff. Ipswich beat Bolton at the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, them two are down, aren't they?
Both of them are in real trouble. Well, I mean, Ipswich aren't in financial trouble, but they are done.
They're both down, those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's just nice to be in the mix, but then once you get there, you don't care about the fact that you're in the mix. You just want to win it. You just want to go up.
Yeah. All right.
I say these badges on the side again, don't
Would you get it next year?
I think I would next year. I said to you earlier that when I buy shirts, I never get this badge on the side for some reason. I've never really done it. Like, I never understand why people get Championship badges on the side. Nothing to be proud of.
No.
But I think if we did go back up, I think I would have to get Premier League badges just to remind myself this is where we want to be, this is where we always want to be.
I'm not even going to ask the question.
Go on, ask me.
No, because it's tempting fate too much. Jed Steer.
I mean, we've just done a whole section about Villa potentially being in the playoffs, Tom, so I don't think you can tempt fate any more.
But I mean, I think that's more realistic than me talking about Villa in the Premier League, so I'm not going to do it.
No, don't do that, silly.
Jed Steer had a few quotes after the Sheffield Wednesday game, just mainly talking about how the Villa team have still got their heads on, they've got to get focused, and they understand that the performance wasn't the best against Wednesday. As soon as you start thinking that you're invincible, things go wrong. It's the wrong attitude. As a team, we did not perform as we know we can do. They were the better side.
I like that.
To come to a better place like this, be under the cosh and still win is great. That is important at this stage of the season to get the points. And then he talks a little bit about his own save, talks about the doing the research and that kind of thing as well. Jed Steer got his head screwed on, made a couple of mistakes in recent, or one decent mistake in recent games.
Decent mistake?
Yeah, okay, costly mistake, let's say. But he's got his head screwed on. Oh, come on. 55 minutes. Time to go.
You've been all over the place tonight, Tom, to be fair.
This is not an FBA winning performance.
No, it really isn't. Hopefully I've managed to carry us through. I like that first line. As soon as you start thinking like you're invincible, things go wrong, and that is true.
I may even have said invisible.
Probably not. I do think if you'd have said that, I would have noticed and picked up on it, usually.
Oh, dear. Next up, then, is the Rotherham game, not to be forgotten. And we've had a fair few questions about that. A lot of it about rotation, and as we've already talked about, we think there is going to be a fair amount of rotation. Most of it voluntary, but potentially Hawes comes out if he's...
Do you think there's a voluntary rotation? I think any player would go out and say, I'm tired, boss.
I guess it's not, voluntary as in non-injury related.
Again.
I mean, that was unnecessary, wasn't it?
I apologise.
We could have walked past there.
I apologise.
Well, we haven't.
I just wondered if it was something I didn't know about.
Stephen Deakin, despite not being at our best, we showed tremendous team spirit and togetherness to get the win. I'm sure you can volunteer yourself to leave.
Lee Hendry did that. I remember Lee Hendry doing that when Graham Taylor's second spell started. He said he was feeling tired, didn't want to play, and Graham Taylor did not take it well.
No.
He didn't get back in the team until the next season.
I once got substituted at half-time, and it wasn't necessarily voluntary, but I'd gone up to the manager and I was just like, I'm having an absolute stinker here. And he went, yeah, it's time for you to come off. So it was like, well, yeah, I mean, that's as voluntary as it got.
If only Dolan was sat on the bench out there, you could have come out, couldn't you, and saved yourself.
Carrying on, Stephen Deakin. Whelan and Taylor were brilliant, in my opinion, against Rotherham. Connor, Axel, Adomah to come in. A few tweaks, but no sweeping changes. Oh, and have we seen the last of Berke Bjarnason with Lansbury fit now?
How long will Lansbury stay fit for?
Exactly.
He can't get a run of fitness together, can he, at all?
No.
But you'd say as he was on the bench on Saturday, he's ahead of Bjarnason.
Yeah.
Carroll's gone back as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's got injured again.
That was a short-lived loan.
Disappointing for him.
I don't think he would have got back into the team, though. I think...
Well, he never got into the team, really,
Yeah,
did
when I
he?
say back. I think when we were on the bad run, he was a cert to probably get the nod, and then he would have continued in the team, but we picked it up again. He was injured. I think even if he was here to the end of the season, now he wasn't going to get ahead of the four that are ahead of him, and arguably Lansbury as well.
Yeah, it's a shame for him, but that's the way football goes sometimes.
Probably won't see him again.
No. George Haynes, I think for Rotherham on Wednesday, Hurahan playing so well, it's fair if he gets his chance again. Whelan will be tired. Willian on loan. Jamie Underhill, reckon it's right for a reshuffle in the lineup for Wednesday against Rotherham, e.g. Hurahan in, Whelan out.
I'd be shocked if Connor didn't come in for Whelan.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I've had a stinker on Wednesday night. I'm out.
Are you?
Yes, I can't watch
I was
it.
going to say, do you want to watch it together?
I'm already out.
That's a shame.
I'm on a works thing. Just didn't consider it at all.
What are you doing?
Oh, mate, you don't want to know. Karaoke.
Oh, goodness. Oh, we talked about this, your karaoke song.
Yeah,
Have you got one?
I've still not come up with one. I'll do a bit of Johnny Cash, Ghost Riders in the Sky. Let's say that.
We have talked about this.
Okay, let's not bore people again.
A couple of random questions here. Rob Prince, I'm very sorry. I missed your question last week. He said, I'm going to ask once more, but only once, in brackets, if you could live in the world from any children's programme, which would it be? And now my head kept going back to the same one, and it makes no sense at all.
Okay, I think mine's quite sensible.
Right, okay.
But I feel like people won't know the programme.
Well, you go first.
No, you go first.
Mine kept coming back to the animals of Farthing Wood. It's like, why would I live in a wood? And the wood burns down as
You'd be
well.
pretty out of place in Animals of the Farthing Wood, because you'd be like Mowgli, essentially the Mowgli version of
But
the
maybe
Animals of
I'd be an
Farthing Wood.
animal as well. Like the foxes seem to run thing. The badgers were the wise ones. But the whole
Badger died, that was quite traumatic.
the forest burns. The wood burns down.
Badger
doesn't
got
it?
dementia, if my memory serves me
Really?
correctly. Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Animals of the Farthing Wood used to teach you some lessons.
Yeah, it was good.
Really, it was before its time.
I honestly can't think of a different children's programme. My head just keeps thinking about Farthing Wood.
What animal do you think you'd be? Definitely wouldn't be the fox.
I'd probably end up being a vole or something like
I
that.
think you'd have died crossing the road in early episodes, to be honest.
Oh no.
I don't mind.
Yeah, go on.
I'm hoping you know what it is, because otherwise it's going to be pretty boring. I'm going to have to try and explain. Remember that programme called Bernard's Watch? Where that watch and you used to be able to freeze time?
Yeah.
I'd probably do that. I've tried to make it Villa related. It's like in a playoff final last year, for example, when Sessegnon played that through ball. I'd move Alan Hutton back to where he should have been, so he could cut it out, just run on and try and move him.
It's like the Quick Quid adverts, isn't it? Where he freezes time.
No,
and
I've
just,
not seen that.
No, forget
Yeah,
about
so
it.
it'd be obviously handy to be able to freeze time a little bit and move things around and help Villa out.
That's a good one.
So Bernard's Watch here was basically a kid that had an old watch that stopped time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd do.
There you go.
Now you've made me think about old TV programmes.
I'm thinking about
The Wolf.
No.
Oh, okay, I was
I'm
moving
thinking
before
about the
your time.
Demon's Headmaster from
No,
that.
that was around. That's all of the same ilk. There's the Queen's Nose. The
Queen's Nose,
All of the
classic.
same ilk, weren't they? You don't get this on other Villa podcasts.
Do you remember the programme Michael Owen was a poster in a boy's bedroom, and he used to come
Yes.
out of it and then give him like worldly advice and football advice at the
I mean,
same time?
having watched Michael Owen as a pundit, I can't imagine he was much better at dishing out the advice then either.
No, I think it was as boring.
His pundit work's hardly inspiring, is it?
So an excellent question, Robert. Do you remember Renford Rejects?
That was a programme.
That was a really good
Not as
programme.
good as Dream Team, but that was a programme.
Different ages,
Yeah,
wasn't
I
it?
liked Renford Rejects, to be fair.
Yeah, very,
good.
very good. Thank you, Rob Prince. Good question.
It was a good question. These are the kind of questions we like, those that are nothing to do with football.
Well, here you go. Villa Mad. Everything is going really well at Villa, so we don't really need to talk about them. So I'd like to ask you guys, if there was one person, past or
I've
present,
seen this one.
you would like to be stuck in a lift with, who would it be and why? Can't be family, but doesn't have to be a sports person.
Definitely wouldn't be you.
Oh my goodness. You've been as harsh to me this week as you were last.
Someone said last week that was harsh, and I was thinking, I don't remember saying anything to the lad. At least if it was said this week, I can think, yeah, there was about 13
Oh,
times.
he deserved
I bullied
it.
him.
He deserved it.
You did deserve it to this week. I've not seen that question, so I've not thought of anything. What's yours?
I've seen
I mean,
it.
you've seen it, wrote it down, and still not thought of an
And
answer, which sums up your incompetence.
I don't know. I don't really like the idea of being stuck in a lift anyway.
No, nor me.
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I'd be my best self if I was stuck in a lift.
Racking my brains here and not coming up with anything. Because you wouldn't really want to be stuck in a lift with, like...
I tell you what, who I would like to be stuck in a lift with, and this probably isn't the greatest person of all time for me, but at the moment I'd really like to be stuck in a lift with him. Ricky Gervais. I'd really like to talk with him. I loved Afterlife. I've loved everything that he's done.
Very good Afterlife.
And
Surprised you didn't want to be stuck in the lift with someone who created Sunderland Till I Die.
that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would love to know their editing techniques. So Ricky Gervais, at the moment.
I can't think of anything. Quite like Alexis Wren. I wouldn't mind being stuck in a lift with her. Instagram model.
I don't know
That's
who
all,
she is.
That's all I can do. You know who Alexis Wren is?
No.
Have a look.
I don't think I will.
Okay.
Becky Reid, then, bit of a random one. What music would you choose for the teams to walk out to?
Becky sits by me.
Does she?
Sat by Becky my entire life. She had a season ticket next to me for my entire life.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Just thought I'd tell everyone that.
Thank you.
I like the Craig Armstrong Escape. I don't know why I like it. I listen to it at home sometimes. It was my alarm for a bit, but it was a bit of a ferocious alarm.
You're so Villa,
and just told me
aren't you?
off. And said you get rid of that alarm immediately. I quite like the Craig Armstrong Escape and then going into the Johnny Cash Ghost Riders in the Sky. I like that. I'm happy with it, but I know that I'm not on board with Don't Look Back in Anger at the end of the game. That's a different subject. I think it's run its course a little bit now. It's more of a last season thing, I think.
And I was watching EFL Championship goals, and somebody else has that as well. Somebody else has Oasis. I mean, Oasis obviously isn't a Birmingham thing anyway.
Man City.
No, it's somebody in the Championship. Anyway, it's just like, I mean, this subject doesn't matter to me as much as it does to you, because obviously I don't go as much as you by any stretch. But the Oasis thing just doesn't fit. When Birmingham has such a rich music culture anyway, it just doesn't make any sense.
No, but I'm happy with what we walk out to. But let us know in the comments what you'd like.
It's always a bone of contention, isn't it? You never did a poll. I'm just thinking you never did a poll.
Yeah, making promises I can't do.
But
the wife won't be surprised.
Yes, so there you go. It is always a talking
I
point.
have people messaging me to suggest polls as well. I've still not done it. Yeah,
shocker.
Next week, maybe.
So there you go. That's it. Anything else you want to say?
No, just that it's been a joy to podcast with you today, Tom. You've been on top form. Congratulations.
Doug Schreider, happy 50th birthday. I still can't say
I just know he's not going to be called Doug Schreider. Anyone who's turned 50 in the last week or so, he's going to be listening to this podcast thinking, there's a chance that birthday message was meant for me.
Doug,
Anyone.
Dan, Dillis.
Dave Schreider in the scar.
Yeah,
nice.
Very nice. If you haven't voted us, vote it. Oh, for goodness sake, you do it.
No, you do it.
If you haven't voted for us in the FBAs, we don't deserve it, so don't bother.
You don't deserve it. Me and Dolan and Rollo do.
These guys do, so make sure you vote for them.
Can't be asked to come.
I would have loved to have come.
I didn't. You can't come. It's expensive.
Yeah, it's expensive.
I don't know what we'd do. To be honest, the price of the FBA is an absolute extortion.
I mean, we're not going to win now, are we?
More than last year. I doubt their list. Last year, they put up clips. We were nominated for Villa View podcast, and the clip that came up was Rollo sat in his bedroom, on nothing to do with the podcast.
I tweeted him,
and I looked at that and thought, mate, that's why we didn't win, because I just listened to Rollo chatting in his bedroom to James Rushton.
I tweeted them last week and just said thanks for the nomination, but you didn't show our podcast last year.
What are you telling me for saying stuff? They are definitely going to see that.
No, they replied. I said thanks and all that kind of stuff. It was polite. They replied saying thanks, see you in Manchester.
Because they didn't even and you're not even going.
No, you're going.
Great stuff.
That'll be fine. But yeah, please do vote for these guys. I didn't get the nomination for best influencer.
I voted for you.
Did you?
You definitely got one vote.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I did do it for a joke, to be honest, obviously.
It's fair. Lots more content coming up. There'll be...
Rollo said no, there won't be a preview for Rotherham. This will act as the preview for Rotherham, so if you're expecting a match preview, you're going to be pretty disappointed.
I've got a huge amount there. But there will be a post-match, and then there'll be fan cams on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely
Bristol.
fan cams on Saturday. There'll be a match preview before Bristol.
And then we're going to do something next week, obviously, for the podcast. Don't know who it will be just yet.
It could literally be two people that have never done the podcast before, the way it's going at the moment.
Could be you, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it will be me. But I was just making a joke that we're struggling.
Oh, yeah, we are struggling. Yeah. But there will be something, so don't worry about that. Plenty more content to come. It's an exciting end to the season, so there's going to be
hopefully
plenty more stuff. So that's good. Thank you very much for watching, listening. If you've got through 1 hour, 8 minutes of me, then
you deserve a medal.
Yeah, but you deserve an FBA. But yeah, thanks very much. Up the Villa.
iTunes reviews have been going strong as well. There's been a few more iTunes reviews coming in. Yeah, it's good. All good stuff. On Spotify now as well, so if you would prefer to listen via that medium, don't forget that we are on Spotify eventually. So it's only taken us 2 years to get on there. So yeah, if you want to change your mode of listening, you can.
There you go.
Cheers.
Up the Villa.
Bye.
What a rambly end.
We say that every time.
I mean, a rambly whole thing.
From you. literally a joke.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.